guys! So, I'm not really sure if this counts as a vlog, an update, or whatnot, but regardless, how many of you, I know a lot of you are familiar with Project Pan, but how many of you are familiar with Project 100, or Project 100 uses, depending on who you ask? If you're not familiar with that, it's kind of like an offshoot from Project Pan, where you track how many times you use a thing. Ideally you do it from the time you get it, but obviously we didn't all know of it magically upon buying all our products, so I just, upon learning of it and deciding I wanted to do it, started counting things from that day. But basically the gist is, you keep track of how many times you use your products, and you make it a goal to try to use things at least 100 times. And, it helps you get in a habit of actually using your stuff up, henceforth working towards your Project Pan goals. But also, it's kind of cool seeing how much you actually use things. It's kind of encouraging to see those tally marks move up, so you actually are encouraged to use your stuff more. It's a good system. So some people do update videos with like their newest batch of things that hit that 100 club. I'm gonna do it with a twist. I'm gonna do that, but I'm also gonna do update videos of things that hit 50, 100, 150, 200, and then each 100 mark after that. I don't know how far up they'll go before we just hit a cliff where nothing goes beyond that number, but... So some caveats on this. Obviously things that I just use literally all the time, like my normal toothpaste, my normal bar soap in the shower, like those, they're literally always used, and while I include them in my empties videos, I see no point in counting them towards this. There's literally no point, because they're always going to be there, and they would just forever be the top number and keep stretching it to, like, insane numbers. So those, I'm not gonna count. However, I will count those product types if I stray from those products and use alternate ones just to try them out, and if those should hit any of the milestone numbers, then sure, I'll include those. But my normal ones, nah, I'm not gonna include towards that. I'm also going to count if I have more than one of a product, and I've used it all the way up, and I rebought it, and I'm still using it and going through it, even if I repurchase it multiple times, I'm counting that all as one thing. Because I think people are kind of interested to see what has that kind of staying power that you're using that much. I think it's kind of interesting. So obviously I'm gonna be doing this mostly with like makeup, skincare, body care, fragrance is basically what I think I'm gonna be like including this towards. I might change that somewhere along the line, but at least for right now, those I think are the main things I'm including in this. So, I think it'll be interesting. I know, since I am including soaps in that, because I think they may easily hit 50. I don't know if any of them will hit 100, but I think they'd easily hit 50 just from, like, a single bottle. For them to hit 100, I think I'd have to do multiple buys of a same scent. So, I don't know if any will hit that, but I think 50 is a reasonable mark that quite a few might hit. So I'm gonna include those. And some of these I am interested in seeing just how quickly those numbers are ratcheting up. Like, honestly, on my spreadsheet of where I'm tracking this, because I'm Little Miss Spreadsheet Queen over here, those are what have the highest numbers currently, are the soaps. I shouldn't be surprised by that. And yet, it's kind of interesting seeing, like, wow, okay, those are going to ding, 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 ding. Now, as for how frequently I'll do those update videos, I'm not entirely sure how many items I'll wait and round up for each batch of them, but, I think I'm gonna play it by ear on that, because I don't want to, like, set an exact number and be, like, stuck in limbo waiting for, like, that last one for freaking ever, and meanwhile have stuff already working towards the next milestone because it's just taking that long. No, I'm just gonna play it by ear, I think, but I'll wait till I have like a good little number of them to share, I think, for each one, but I think this could be interesting, and it's definitely motivating me to actually use my stuff. So, because I don't know, I am competitive even with myself. I like to see numbers rise on things. So, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing it in a wasteful way, I'm just doing it in a I'm not slacking off way. So, it is interesting to me just watching this already. As for how I am tracking it, I don't know about how other people are doing it. This is just how I'm doing it. I set up a spreadsheet in Google Docs where first I made a color key at the top for what I'm using is the background color for each cell for which of those milestone brackets we're in. So like for 0 through 49, it's just plain white. It doesn't get a color. Like 50 to 99 is like pale yellow. 100 to 149 is orange, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. I basically did that along the top row, formatted down a few lines, and then started making a row for each product that I've been using, and I've been adding to it frequently as I use things that aren't on there yet. I'm sure this thing's going to become massive somewhere along the line, and that's okay. That's okay. I may have to work out an organizational system so I can find stuff easier on it, but for right now, I'm just doing them in order that I've been using them, and then going over a few cells from that with the number of times, which obviously starts at 1, that I'm using it, and I'm just counting it as of the day that I started this project, because obviously I can't count backwards and know the exact number of times I used stuff prior to this. I don't know that, because I wasn't tracking it. So that's how I'm tracking it, and each time I use it, I bring up my Google Doc on that I bookmarked, and I update the number, and save it, and go on about my merry way. Takes all like a minute. So, easy peasy. I can access it from my computer or my phone, which makes it that much more convenient. But like I said, you could, if you were interested in doing this, track it any way that works for you. That just, for me, made the most sense. So, but yeah, and then I think as I hit empties on things, I may move that product, if I don't think I'm gonna repurchase immediately or at all, I'm gonna move that to a separate Google Doc with the retired ones and like what my total tally count was as of that moment. And the reason I'm gonna do that is, should I come into acquisition of more of it in the future for any reason, I can pick it up from that one and move it back to the main one and pick up where I left off and not lose that number. So that's how I'm gonna mitigate that, in case anybody was curious. And if it doesn't ever get bought again, then it's not wasting space just hanging out on that original one, making it more massive than it'll already be. So, but yeah, I've even noticed, even with like lippies, that it has definitely kept me more on track of not forgetting to actually use them. You know, just as you do. So that's been nice too, seeing actual progress go towards them. I think it's a good system, so I think I'm extending the thing to you guys, the invitation that if you want to be doing this on your channels or whatever social media you use, feel free to join in and do this. I didn't invent this project, I don't know who did, but it's like an extension of Project Pan, so if you're already Project Panning, you might want to jump in on this too, because I think it's kind of cool. So, anyways, let me know if you're going to be interested in watching the updates on this, because I'm kind of curious. On Twitter, I did have people telling me that they're interested to see those updates, so I think this is going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun.